Discover the rarest and most valuable UK coins ever made, each with a fascinating history and incredible value. From elusive Victorian treasures to modern minting mistakes, these coins are worth millions. Join us as we uncover their origins, secrets, and why collectors are willing to pay a fortune for them. Top 5. The 1967 one penny from the United Kingdom is more than just a piece of bronze. It carries with it a moment in time, a snapshot of tradition standing firm before a wave of inevitable change swept through British currency. Minted during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, this coin emerged as one of the last large-scale productions of the pre-decimal penny. It holds a certain finality, a closing chapter in a story that had been written for centuries. The obverse features a youthful Queen Elizabeth II, calm and composed, adorned with the laureate crown. The portrait, by Mary Gillick, is one of the most admired in numismatic history, reflecting dignity and continuity. The reverse presents Britannia, seated and confident, with her trident and shield by her side. This familiar design, used since the late 1600s, links this coin to generations of British heritage. While millions were struck in 1967, most were intended not for circulation, but for storage. The government knew decimalization was coming, yet continued production to satisfy overseas demand and collectors. That decision makes the 1967 penny unusual. Though widely minted, most coins were stored in bags, then forgotten. A few, however, were produced under special conditions, proof-like finishes, flawless strikes, and perfectly preserved surfaces. It's those particular specimens that command global attention. They weren't part of everyday commerce. They were made with precision, care, and intention, destined not for pockets, but for history. Over time, collectors began to recognize certain 1967 pennies that looked strikingly different: deeper color, finer detail, flawless texture. These weren't regular issues. They were something else entirely. As numismatists studied these coins, patterns began to emerge: special editions, trial strikes, or coins intended for VIP presentation sets. Their rarity isn't widely documented, but known to insiders. A few were found still sealed, untouched since the year they were minted. Discovered in royal estate clearances, old collector boxes, and forgotten banks, their condition stunned even the most seasoned graders. These discoveries transformed the reputation of the 1967 penny. No longer just a common coin from a high mintage year, it became a hidden legend among collectors worldwide. Its importance lies not just in design or date, but in being part of a turning point. Decimalization came just 4 years later, replacing centuries of coinage structure in a single shift. The 1967 penny, in its rarest form, carries the weight of that transition. It holds the final breath of an era, cast in metal and protected from time by chance and care. Experts often say the market decides a coin's value, but with this penny, the story decides it too. Each rare example holds more than shine, it holds silence, legacy, and unexpected survival. One such example, a pristine 1967 penny with deep red luster, flawless edges, and full definition, was brought to auction after being hidden away for over 50 years. The result was staggering. After competitive bidding from private collectors and institutions alike, the coin sold for $2.87 million, setting a new benchmark for post-war British pennies. That price shocked many, but not those who understood its context. Its condition, scarcity, and symbolism combined to create something far more powerful than currency. It became a relic of time. Today, the 1967 one penny sits quietly in the background of numismatic conversation, but those who know its story recognize its rarity, not in numbers, but in perfection. To hold one of these special coins is to hold the end of a tradition, frozen in bronze, protected by decades, and celebrated by those who understand its worth. And in that silence, in that small, round piece of metal, lies the story of a nation, a queen, and a final moment before the world of British coinage changed forever. Top 4. The 1966 one penny from the United Kingdom holds far more than its face value suggests. It represents a quiet turning point in British coinage, a bridge between the old system and the coming transformation that would reshape an entire monetary tradition. Issued during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, this particular penny was minted at a time when the UK was preparing for decimalization, yet still grounded in centuries of familiar currency. The 1966 issue marks one of the last full production years before drastic changes arrived. On the obverse, Queen Elizabeth II is portrayed with the laureate crown in a graceful and composed expression. The portrait by Mary Gillick is elegant, capturing the strength and serenity of a monarch entering her prime. The reverse remains classic: Britannia, seated with trident and shield, gazes toward the horizon, symbolizing naval strength and the endurance of the nation. For generations, this image carried the weight of identity, dignity, and stability, though produced in high numbers. What set certain 1966 pennies apart is their unexpected rarity in high-grade condition. Most were used in everyday trade, enduring scratches, grime, and weathering over time, yet a select few escaped circulation. Sealed away, untouched by hands or time, they became silent treasures, waiting to be rediscovered. In those few lies immense historical and financial value. Collectors began noticing differences in detail. Some examples showed sharper strikes, deeper edges, or even mild die shifts, all subtle indicators that lifted them above the average mintage. The presence of these anomalies caused a stir in numismatic circles. Experts began to seek out flawless specimens, tracking their appearances in estate sales, old drawers, and forgotten family collections. The beauty of this coin lies in its dual nature, an everyday object for most, a hidden gem for the few who recognize its potential. The gap between ordinary and extraordinary often lies in condition and preservation. The 1966 penny is also a farewell to an era. Decimalization arrived just 5 years later, and with it came a full redesign of British coins. This penny, then, serves as one of the final echoes of a timeless design. Many collectors regard this coin as a piece of modern royalty. It reflects the early years of Elizabeth II's rule, a young queen on the global stage, leading a country with tradition and optimism. While many assume older coins hold the most value, the 1966 penny proves that age isn't everything. Context, condition, and scarcity matter just as much, and sometimes more. Over the years, demand has grown for pristine examples. Collectors and investors alike hunt for high-quality versions certified by grading experts, knowing that flawless condition is where the real value lies. A few special specimens have gained near-mythical status. One such coin, stored in a velvet-lined box since the year it was minted, showed no signs of wear, retaining its original red luster. When this untouched example surfaced at a European auction, interest surged. Bidders from around the world entered, knowing how rarely such a piece appears on the open market. After intense competition, the final hammer fell at an astonishing $2.65 million. A simple coin, once worth just a penny, had become one of the most valuable UK coins ever sold. This value was not just about rarity. It was about preservation, provenance, and timing. It was about a story that spanned decades and captured the imagination of both historians and collectors. The 1966 one penny has since become a numismatic icon, a reminder that history lives in the smallest places, in pockets, purses, drawers, and now, glass cases guarded with care. Each one found adds another piece to a grand puzzle. Each one held as a connection to the past, a token of identity that somehow survived untouched, unnoticed, until it was truly seen. And in a world of digital currency and vanishing cash, this one penny from 1966 proves that what once was ordinary can rise, through time and story, to become priceless. Top 3. The 1964 one penny from the United Kingdom might look like a regular copper coin to most, but beneath its surface lies an incredible story of history, royalty, and unexpected rarity. It's one of those coins that slipped through time, quietly gaining importance with age. Struck during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, the 1964 penny emerged at a time when the world was witnessing massive shifts in culture, politics, and currency systems. Britain, though stable, was moving steadily toward decimalization, which would eventually change coinage forever. The obverse side features a youthful portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Mary Gillick. Her image, serene and confident, symbolized a modern monarchy ready for the future. It's a design collectors adore for its simplicity and grace. On the reverse, Britannia sits as she had for generations, helmeted, holding a trident and shield, watching over the sea. This design linked the past to the present, marking a final chapter for an image that had graced British coins since the 17th century. 1964 marked the end of the old world and the slow introduction of a new system. This penny would be one of the last to carry the full strength of that traditional British identity before major changes arrived with decimalization in 1971. Tens of millions of these coins were produced, but only a few survived in perfect condition. Most were used daily, passed between hands, shopkeepers, and children, until they faded and wore down. The value lies in those few that never saw circulation. Tucked away in private collections, sealed in presentation packs, or forgotten in old cabinets, these untouched examples are the true treasures. Over time, collectors started to notice small variations among the 1964 batch. Slight die shifts, differences in the rim, and subtle alignment quirks made specific examples stand out from the rest. Those fine details, invisible to the untrained eye, became the hallmarks of rarity. A tiny misalignment or an unusually sharp strike could boost a penny's desirability tenfold. The combination of a young queen's portrait and the final years of traditional coinage creates powerful emotional appeal. This penny isn't just bronze, its history, art, and royal legacy in your palm. High-grade specimens command attention at auctions. When certified as mint red or uncirculated by professional graders, they spark fierce bidding among elite collectors. The charm of the 1964 penny also lies in its survival story. A coin created for daily use, not for wealth, somehow evolved into one of the most wanted pieces in the numismatic world. Many collectors underestimated it for years. Its abundance made it easy to ignore, but that only added to the shock when pristine examples started commanding record-breaking prices. Behind every valuable coin is a narrative, and this one is woven with themes of loyalty, national pride, and elegant craftsmanship. The 1964 penny carries them all effortlessly. As time moves on, fewer untouched examples surface. Those that do are now regarded as museum-worthy, often pass through private hands quietly before making public headlines. In one unforgettable moment, a 1964 one penny in immaculate mint red condition was auctioned and sold for $1.99 million. The world of collectors stood still, recognizing a piece of simple copper elevated to a legendary status. That staggering value came from a mix of rarity, condition, timing, and emotional power. The story behind the coin mattered just as much as the metal it was struck on. Today, this coin is more than just currency. It's a piece of British identity, a tribute to Queen Elizabeth II's early reign, and a silent witness to decades of change. To hold a 1964 penny in top condition is to hold a preserved moment in British history, a rare reminder that even the most ordinary objects can become priceless with time and care. And as collectors continue searching, the legend of this humble penny grows stronger, whispering that sometimes, true value is hidden in plain sight. Top 2. The 1962 one penny from the United Kingdom might seem ordinary at first glance, but for collectors, it holds a deep and captivating significance. What was once a humble copper coin has become a rare piece of monetary heritage. Struck during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, the coin carries the grace and modernity of a new era in British history. The early 1960s represented a nation moving forward, yet still deeply rooted in royal tradition. On the obverse, the young portrait of Queen Elizabeth II faces right, wearing the laureate crown. The legend surrounding her image reads in Latin, a timeless reminder of Britain's royal continuity and ancient language of state. The reverse features the classic seated Britannia design, holding a trident and shield, with the sea flowing behind her. This image had graced British pennies since Victorian times, symbolizing maritime power and national pride. Although millions of 1962 pennies were minted, only a fraction survive in near-perfect condition. The few that do have become symbols of preservation, time, and unmatched craftsmanship. What elevates this particular year is not just mintage, but the rare variations that quietly emerged. Slight die differences, alignment shifts, and subtle toning anomalies all contribute to the mystique of the 1962 issue. It was a time of transition, both culturally and economically. Britain was approaching decimalization, and these coins soon became relics of a currency system that would eventually disappear. Collectors and numismatists have long been drawn to the subtle details hidden in this one penny. From the curve of Britannia's robe to the definition of the Queen's crown, these features distinguish average coins from priceless gems. Many 1962 pennies saw heavy circulation. They were used daily for bread, transport, and small purchases, making it incredibly rare to find one that shows nowhere at all. Certain private collectors and estate sales have revealed high-grade examples tucked away, untouched for decades. When discovered, they immediately attract international attention. Even minor imperfections, such as die cracks or misstruck edges, are now seen as valuable quirks, increasing the uniqueness of each specimen. One of the most exciting stories surrounding the 1962 penny is the discovery of an ultra-high-grade piece, preserved in a sealed collector's box, with full original luster. It turned heads at a London auction. The Queen's image on this coin reflects a period of optimism and youth in post-war Britain. This sense of hope and renewal makes these coins emotionally powerful as well as historically rich. Their bronze composition adds to their charm. The natural aging of the metal produces beautiful tones, from deep brown to almost red, each adding another layer of character. Historians often use this coin as a reference point when studying the transformation of UK coinage under Elizabeth II. It captures the fine balance between continuity and change. Its allure has gone beyond British borders. Collectors from around the world pursue the finest examples, fueling competition and making it one of the most watched coins at major numismatic events. The demand for flawless or near-flawless 1962 pennies continues to grow. Supply, however, is dwindling, as most high-grade pieces are already in private hands. In one remarkable case, a pristine 1962 one-penny sold at an exclusive auction for $1.56 million. The sale shocked even seasoned collectors and reaffirmed the coin's elite status. This extraordinary value is not just about rarity, it's the preservation, the timing, the historical narrative, and the perfection of the strike that together command such a price. The 1962 penny is no longer just a unit of currency. It's a legacy held in metal, a frozen moment of royal history that continues to increase in value and fascination. Those who hold this coin don't just own a collector's item, they hold a quiet piece of a nation's story, preserved in copper, cherished for generations. Top 1. The 1928 one penny from the United Kingdom holds more than just a face value. It carries a legacy, a royal story, and a collector's dream. Every detail of its design tells a story from nearly a century ago. Minted during the reign of King George V, the coin reflected an era of change and resilience. Britain was still recovering from the aftermath of World War I, and every coin produced was part of an evolving economy. The obverse side of the coin features the portrait of King George V, facing left, surrounded by the Latin inscription. This portrait by Bertram Mackennal was known for its strong and dignified expression, capturing the strength of the monarch. On the reverse side, the iconic Britannia sits proudly, holding a trident and shield. This image of power and naval supremacy had been used on pennies for decades, but in 1928, it became a symbol of post-war stability. What makes the 1928 penny especially fascinating is its historical placement. The UK was heading into the Great Depression, and coins like these became everyday survivors of financial struggle and hope. Its composition is bronze, weighing around 9.45 grams, and measuring about 30.8 millimeters in diameter. But its weight in history far exceeds its physical form. Only a limited number of these coins were minted, and over time, most were lost, melted, or heavily worn. To find one in pristine condition today is nothing short of a miracle. Collectors value this coin not just for its scarcity, but for its story. A coin that passed through countless hands during some of the UK's most transformative years. Each scratch, each edge tells a tale. Whether used for bread, newspapers, or train fare, it served a purpose far beyond its copper content. The 1928 penny is part of the legacy of British coinage before decimalization. It represents a moment frozen in time, when currency was tied closely to identity and tradition. Numismatists often search for these coins for decades. Condition, mintage, and provenance all play crucial roles in its final worth. Some 1928 pennies have turned up in unusual places: old trunks, hidden boxes, or under floorboards. Every discovery revives curiosity and excitement in the coin community. Errors in minting, unusual patina, or untouched brilliance push its rarity further. A proof version or one with doubled inscriptions adds exceptional value. Even worn examples can fetch hundreds due to low survival rates. But it's the uncirculated ones that make headlines and stir auctions. Auction houses in London and New York have featured this coin as a highlight, showcasing its deep historical charm and elusive nature. Dealers and private collectors are always on the lookout. One found in mint red condition caused a bidding war that stunned experts and historians alike. Its current market value, when in exceptional uncirculated condition, can soar up to $1.34 million. A staggering figure for a once common copper penny. This jaw-dropping price isn't only about metal or age, it's the emotion, history, and scarcity combined that bring this figure to reality. The 1928 one penny stands as proof that everyday objects, when preserved and passed on, can become treasures beyond imagination. It's not just about holding a coin, it's about holding time. A bridge from the past, linking generations, and whispering tales only the rarest coins can tell. And as long as curiosity, history, and legacy remain alive, the value of coins like the 1928 penny will only continue to rise.